Candidates are squeezing in as many campaign events in Iowa as possible, hoping it'll be enough to give them a winning edge against the competition. Now, last night, 3,000 people flooded a Cedar Rapids arena to see Senator Sanders. It was the largest Iowa crowd of this campaign season, and part political rally, part concert, with the band Vampire Weekend taking the stage. And let's bring in Cara Korte, who has been following the Sanders campaign for about 10 months now. She's outside of his latest meet and greet event in Newton, Iowa. Cara, first, Senator Sanders is headed back to Washington, D.C. for his job, of course, as a U.S. Senator for the impeachment trial on Monday. Walk us through his schedule for the last hours before the caucuses.
Well, good afternoon, Omar. Happy Caucus Eve. We're here in Newton now, but as you said, the senator is not staying in Iowa very long. He's flying back to Washington, D.C. tonight for his day job. He will be in the Senate tomorrow morning for the impeachment trial. But in D.C., he won't be there for long either. He won't be there for even 24 hours. He leaves Iowa tonight, and he will return back tomorrow night for caucus night, where he'll hold a big rally in Des Moines tomorrow, watching returns come in. But these next 24 hours, lots of hopscotching, as he has done for the past 2 weeks. He and the other senators running right now, hopscotching between Iowa and between Washington, D.C.
Now, in Iowa, you have to press the flesh out there, but he's got to be in D.C. What is going to be done when he's in D.C. and the events are going on in Iowa? Is he going to have surrogates?
Yeah, something that the Bernie Sanders campaign has kind of lived off of in these past couple weeks while he's been stuck in Washington are their surrogates. They have very charismatic, very compelling surrogates that draw a crowd themselves. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was here campaigning last weekend. He has filmmaker Michael Moore with him. Last night we saw Dr. Cornel West out in Cedar Rapids. There are a large group of surrogates here that travel with the senator, including Jane Sanders, his wife, who's actually speaking right now inside of this field office, to kind of keep the message going. Those people, as I said, draw a crowd themselves. In a way, they're people who are synonymous with this movement that Bernie Sanders is seen as being the leader of. So people come out and see the senator, but even when he's not here, they draw crowds to encourage people to come out and caucus tomorrow.
I'm sure it's a pressure cooker now with us being so close to the caucuses. But what is the atmosphere there like now?
Well, people are really amped up here, Omar. It's something that we've always seen with the Sanders campaign. His supporters are emotional and they are with him, but you can kind of feel like they can almost taste victory coming tomorrow. Now, we'll see what happens, but people are very, very excited. There are volunteers here from all over the country, but also volunteers from all over Iowa out there maintaining what Bernie Sanders always talks about, their grassroots movement. They're knocking doors. They think that they can take it this time around. There's a lot of talk about 4 years ago how Bernie Sanders effectively tied Secretary Clinton here in Iowa last time around, and it's kind of the idea that they want to close it out this time. Some of his surrogates are telling crowds that it's on you, Iowa, to tell the world that the people are ready for the revolution. It starts here in Iowa. So they're excited. I actually talked to campaign manager Faz Shakir a short time ago, and he says he's a little bit more pragmatic. He's saying that we know we're in a tight race. We're hoping for a high turnout, and they're hoping for the best.
Now, there's not much time left with the caucuses. And everything, all the preparation they've done, all the town halls, all the meetings, it all comes to a head. How is the Sanders campaign going to use all of its resources, all the money they've raised, all the signatures and volunteers? How does it all come together at the end? How do they use all their resources?
As you said, Omar, they have a lot of resources. They've raised a lot of money. They have a lot of volunteers. And they think all of that is going to combine to make kind of a winning cocktail here tomorrow. They announced yesterday they surpassed, or they met a goal, rather, that they set for the month of January of knocking on 500,000 doors across the state of Iowa, 500,000. Big difference. And as Senator Sanders likes to joke, we've heard him throughout this past day, there are only about 3+ million people that live in Iowa. So as he jokes, if we're knocking on 500,000 doors, we're hopefully reaching just about every Iowan out there. So they think that's going to set them apart.
Now, for people outside of Iowa, they're probably just maybe paying attention in the last few weeks. For people living in Iowa, they have seen ads, seen signs, maybe even been to an event. So they've been bombarded. But what is the closing message for caucus goers now, since you've been with him for 10 months? What's the closing message for the one day?
Well, the closing message, Omar, is about kind of closing out this revolution that Bernie Sanders stands for. He just told people at our last event that Monday night is about telling the country that we're ready for a government that stands for justice over corruption. Bernie Sanders tells Iowans all the time that his campaign is about two things. Yes, it's about defeating Donald Trump, but it's also about carrying out this vision for a new America. He's kind of talks about this fantasy of an America that he says that's based on justice, social justice, racial justice, economic justice, and that is the final sell here. He's talking about defeating the president, but he's presenting an idea for a different kind of America, and he's hoping that that's going to be the winning message here tomorrow.
Cara Korte, who is in Newton, Iowa, and who has been on the Bernie Sanders campaign for more than 10 months. Big day for the campaign and for you tomorrow. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Omar.